Well, hey, everybody, welcome to the Military Wire with Mike Schindler. I am, in fact, Mike Schindler, and I thank you guys for joining us on the Military Wire, where we interview some of America's most elite men and women who have served this country in hopes that you, our viewer, get an aha moment that you can apply to your own life. I'm excited about today's guest. I'm going to get to today's guest, but before I do, I want to thank our sponsors, Bone Frog Cellars and Bone Frog Coffee. Founded by my friend Tim Cruikshank, former Lieutenant Commander Tim Cruikshank, Navy SEAL, who portions of the proceeds go to the Navy SEAL Foundation to support the families of fallen SEALs. So thank you, Tim, and to his crew for the work that they do there. So for those of us who have served, I just want to say we are part of a rare air club. We have accomplished something that 93% of Americans have not, and that is service to this country in uniform. So what if that service, what if our training is actually the secret to unlocking true hidden treasure? That's what we're going to unpack today. And my guest today is Fred Lewis. Fred spent 14 years in the military as a Green Beret and Special Forces medic. And he survived some pretty unimaginable events in places very few people have dared venture. Places that you guys know: Africa, Korea, Iraq, Afghanistan. His extensive Special Forces training, medical training, is considered one of the best on the planet. And he is actually venturing on a new mission with Discovery's #1 rated series Gold Rush, which returns this Friday, September 24th. And it'll feature Fred. So Fred Lewis, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, brother. Glad to be here.
Yeah, gosh, excited to see you. You know, I'm kind of jealous of your beard there. You know, I'm that, you know, I think that's you guys sport that beard of the Green Berets all the time, right?
Well, ironically, I was never allowed to grow one when I was on a team. My team sergeant said, "No, you have blue eyes. You can't grow a beard." And then I got out, went and visited him, and he was like, "Oh, you really can grow a beard." So his loss.
That's so great. Well, let's start with your service, Fred. I want to start with that because I think, you know, most of our audience, you know, have served this country, have family members who have served this country. And I want to find out what motivated you to serve the country, first of all, and then certainly go after the elite force like the Green Berets.
Well, I first got interested in the military because of language. I learned a language early on in life and kind of realized I had a knack for it. So when the military came around, I asked them what I could do with language. So they enlisted me as a Korean intel analyst. I actually spent 7 years doing that and loved it. It was a little less of an active job. I was mostly sitting in tunnels and intercepting, you know, doing our thing on that side. And then 9/11 came along, like many of us. And I realized as a Korean linguist, I probably wasn't going to go fight the Taliban.
Yeah.
And up until that point, the military had stop lost all intel.
Yep.
So we weren't allowed to get out. As soon as 9/11 happened, they're like, "All right, if you want to go SF, go." I was gone.
Is that right?
That was enough for me.
Yeah, that is so awesome. I love your spirit behind that too. And I just want to let our audience know that if Fred comes in and out a little bit, it's because he's calling from a remote part of almost being in Alaska. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, no problem.
You tell us about your transition experience, because you served the country. You served in places that a lot of people, you know, either don't know about or probably don't want to know about, for that matter. But then you transitioned. How was that transition experience for you, Fred?
Well, I can't really put any powder on it. It was the worst experience of my life. I went from being active duty in combat. I had several concussions through training, several concussions in combat, and then I took a round to the helmet. And that, to me, was the last concussion I could handle. I started having seizures and migraines. So my wife decided it was probably best for me to get out. So I got out relatively quickly. I was in combat in August, and in April, I was enrolled in college, trying to figure out what the heck was going on. So for the first 4 years, I kept busy. I kept in college. I kept trying to better myself, but I was going through all the problems alone, without anybody to help me. And I didn't really know what was going on. I was taking every medication the VA was giving me. I was trying to do the therapy, all the stuff they want you to do, and none of it was working. I got involved in adaptive sports, which is Warrior Games and Invictus. And
Yeah.
that put me around other people that had been in the same situation I had been in, but they had overcome it. So I realized at that point that the methods I was using which just weren't working for me, and I needed to do something else. So that kind of got me active, got me training for the Warrior Games, trying to win medals. And, that lasted for about 2 years. And then that ends because you can only do it twice. So
Mm.
after Warrior Games, I was kind of lost in the sauce again, trying to figure out what I was going to do. And then I decided to go on American Ninja Warrior. I was like, you know what? If I was a Green Beret once, I could just do something crazy. I got on Ninja Warrior, did that twice. And that's how I got into the TV realm.
Wow.
And from that point, I got a call from a production company on Parker Schnabel going to Papua New Guinea. And through all this, I was getting better. I was realizing I was pushing myself. I was trying to grab onto stuff instead of just taking pills and thinking I was going to get better from that, right? Because it's just
Yeah.
not how it works. And it all just led me down this path that kind of stumbled into Gold Rush. And it's just one of those things I realized really early on that vets weren't getting the help we needed. I realized that there was no support unit. These weekend getaways and these trips are great, but when they end, you go right back to being by yourself. So
Yeah.
I founded a nonprofit that didn't work. I've been trying to help vets basically since I realized I could get better and help other people get better.
Yeah.
And that's when I landed into Gold Rush and I saw gold, and then the opportunity just came to me. I knew guys and gals that did what we did can gold mine, and I knew
Yeah.
that would be an opportunity. So I don't really know how it happened. I just kind of enjoyed the ride, and it happened.
Yeah. You know what I love about your story, Fred, is that you kept going, right? You didn't give up. I mean, it
Yep.
was that resolve, and it was that, one of the questions here is, moving from that brotherhood environment into the rather individual corporate environment, which is oftentimes transition, right? We go from having, we might disagree with somebody, that's on the team or in our unit or on our ship or whatever, but when mission calls, we all step up and we work as one team. In corporate, it's pretty individual, right? So uh,
Yep.
what I love about your story, though, is that you kept pushing forward. And I think that's the key for people to lock onto is you've got that resolve deep down. You just got to keep pushing forward and find it, right? It's like digging for
Yeah.
gold. Like,
Yep.
it's there, right? You just got to find it. So,
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, so talk to us a little bit of that. I love that you made it on the show. I'm thinking, man, my daughter watches American Ninja Warrior. She says she's going to eventually compete on that show, which I probably believe her. She probably will. And I think, I don't know if I'd make it through the first, you know, little obstacle. I mean,
Well,
so
I didn't do very well either. I never got aired. I fell on the second obstacle both seasons, but it was more about just putting myself out there and knowing that I could get selected for it, and
yeah,
knowing that I had a story that could inspire other people. That was the time I started realizing that just other people hearing about what I went through could help them.
yeah,
That's what drove me to do all this. And the gold mining is a perfect fit because it's the type of work we love. I mean, since I've been out, I've been a high school biology teacher, a middle school history teacher. I've coached volleyball. I've coached wrestling. I mean, I've tried. I got a degree in agriculture. I studied my master's in secondary education, but I got bored with that. I studied another bachelor's in web design, but that was not what I wanted to do. So I've been doing so many things
yeah,
and just never found my niche. And when I got to gold mining, I saw that not only was it something I would do, but everybody I knew would love it. And
yeah,
that was where the opportunity came, and I snagged it. As soon as I heard they wanted another team on the show, I was like, I'll do it. I'll take it. And I worked my ass off for 3 weeks. I found that claim. I convinced people to give me money. I convinced my friends.
yeah.
I did everything I had to do to make it happen, and it ended in failure, but it still told me that we could do it, and that's why I'm not giving up.
Yes, yeah, I love that. And I want to recap that for the audience a little bit. So last year you struck out in Oregon. I think that's how it goes. But now you're
Yep.
heading to the Yukon, which is pretty cool. So you're going to be back in the elements. You've got an all-veteran crew, which you've kind
Yep.
of alluded to. So guys that love that. You and I both know there's two types of plans that work and plans that might work and plans that don't work. I think those are the two types of plans.
Yep.
Uh, So how will you succeed this year? I mean, I mean, you're fighting the elements. These are uncontrollables, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. And to be honest, I'm coming up to the Yukon on a whim. I just got off prospecting in Nevada and Arizona. I really wanted my men and women to be in the United States. I felt like that was part of our message. We're American. We're fighting for our purpose and our spot in this crazy ass civilian world.
yeah,
But gold is where it's at. You can't you can't
yeah,
make gold be somewhere cool. If I could do that, I'd be mining in Maui.
right.
It doesn't work.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I looked at the formula, I looked at the show, I looked at where everyone's making big money, and it's the Yukon. So it's a big gamble. I have no sources. I know Parker and I know Tony, and I kind of know Rick a little. That's it. So it's a big gamble, but I also know that there's gold in the Yukon, and I don't feel like I'm going to fail at finding it. I just feel like if I put my all into it, and I know that my guys on my team are relying on me to find it, I'll figure it out.
yeah,
It's here, and that's what we do. We go into austere environments and we figure it out. So this is really another mission. It's
yeah,
just like going into an austere, like a third world country and trying to figure out how to make it better. I'm just trying to figure out where the gold is and who's going to give it to me.
yeah, yeah. I so love that. So let's talk about true treasures a little bit, and I want to wrap out back to the show. But those true treasures, being true to yourself, right? And what I love about your story, again, I know when I got out, I struggled, 14 jobs. And I was never a biology teacher or anything like that. I was just trying to figure out, how do I make my way, right? I was always searching. I thought money was the answer for me. So I was always like, bouncing from job to job to continue to, build my portfolio, and still found that I was empty, right? That lack of mission
Right.
and purpose. And here, being true to you, and it sounds like you found your niche. You found what is driving you. You found what is pulling your head off that pillow in the morning, which I love. You're inspiring other people to join you, to be a part of that. How do you get there, Fred?
I think you get there through failure. You get there through going through the dark times. You get
Yeah,
there through getting to the bottom of where you're going to be in life and realizing that you don't want other people to see that. I think for me, as long as I could have hit it, I probably would have kept going and been just fine popping pills and squeaking by. And my doctor telling me, you're going to be on pills the rest of your life. Just get used to it. I probably would have been fine with that. But when my kids started to notice, when my real friends started to notice, to me, that's a no-go. I just, I feel really strongly in my family. I've got 4 kids. I got a great wife. And that moment of getting to the bottom was what helped me get where I'm at now. And I'm nowhere near the top, but I'm going there.
yeah,
Um, it really took that. It took that complete darkness to understand that I didn't want to live that way.
yeah. Wow, man. I'm even more impressed, Fred, because I didn't know that about your bio, that you're, wife, 4 kids. So now I'm really curious. Like, she says, go to the Yukon, Fred. That's cool. I'm going to stay home with the kids. I mean, what,
No,
what, how did that
no.
work?
Well, my wife knows I'm tenacious. She also knows that I usually don't fail. Eventually, I will succeed.
Yeah,
And she saw this change in me, this drive in me that's given me, like, having everybody else rely on me has really changed my life. Like, that has given me so much more drive and so much more power to succeed than anything, because I don't want to fail for Stuart. I don't want to fail for any of my guys. Like, these are
yeah,
my homies, these are my heroes. I mean, Johnny, 2 Purple Hearts. I mean, you want to fight for these guys.
yeah,
And Kara, my wife, she knows that, and she knows how tenacious I am. She sees the potential here, and she took the gamble with me. She was on the prospecting trip in Nevada and Arizona. She saw me learning and understanding and starting to figure this gold mining thing out, and she knows me better than anybody.
yeah,
So she bit the bullet. She's taking care of our youngest, Emma, because I have all my kids are grown. I've got almost a 19-year-old daughter and 2 22-year-old sons, and then my other daughter's 14, just got into high school. So that's the
got it.
challenge, is trying to be there. But my wife came up this season. My son is also a veteran, one of my sons, and he's on my team this year. So we're trying to incorporate family and helping the vets. I mean, 99% of my family is veterans. My mom is the only one that's not a vet. My brothers,
Wow.
like everybody.
Yeah.
So this is a thing that's close to all of us.
Yeah. That is so cool. So how do people follow you? So Gold Rush, I mean, it's Discovery's #1 series. It's a great show. I've watched it. I will definitely be watching it. I'm going to be cheering you on for sure. But how do people follow you, Fred? How do they encourage you through this? I mean, I got to believe you're probably going to be in some remote locations, so it's not like you're going to be, honing in on social media. But if they want to
Well,
follow your ventures, how do they do that?
I'm actually overly active on social media, and the network
Okay,
kind of tries to carve me down a little bit because I like to share.
I got it.
So official Fred Lewis on Instagram is the best place. Um, I like to I'm trying to inspire people. I'm not trying to hide. I'm not trying to be recluse anymore. I
Yep,
was. So
yep,
now I'm trying to get my posts out there. Even when I get home off after the season, I'll post daily on my training because I'm training for the Invictus Games next year. Um, Trying to hit that before I go gold mining. So I'm
wow,
completely active on social media. I encourage people to message me. I get messages from vets every single day, and I love it. I get a lot of haters, not veterans. I get a lot of haters. I ignore those guys, but I
mm,
get way more vets thanking me for inspiring, asking me for jobs, which is not a bad thing to do because we are going to expand. So I actually encourage people to reach out. You never know when you're going to meet a real warrior that really needs this opportunity. So I got to keep that door open.
yeah. That is so cool. That is so cool. So the show airs just in a couple weeks, I think. So are
Yeah.
people on Discovery on Gold Rush? So you're excited about that, right? I mean, this
Heck
is going to
yeah,
be a
we'll be
big deal.
mining while it's airing, so I'll miss the first couple episodes, but
Yeah. It's so good. So one piece of advice that you have for those that are transitioning, Fred, what is it?
lean forward and drive on. Don't let any of the negative energy drag you down. I think that was one of the things I did was I started cutting out negative energy and started focusing on myself, and
Yeah.
things started getting better. You just got to keep that drive.
Yeah, I love that. That's a good thing. Okay, guys. So you got to check out Discovery's #1 series, Gold Rush. You got to be sure that you follow Fred Lewis at official Fred Lewis on Instagram. Be sure you guys do that. And those of you who are just looking to hit that next phase of mission, purpose, identity after you get out of the service, be sure you reach out to us here at Operation Military Family or the Military Wire, and we'll hook you up with one of our team members to really start to live life on purpose with passion. And I think, Fred, you are a perfect example of that. So thank you for being an example for me and certainly for others.
Well,
Appreciate it.
thank you guys for bringing all this out and for your message because it's spot on.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for being on the show, Fred.
Thank you.